And welcome to 20's Know It All. I am your host, Dylan. As usual, guys, welcome back. Lately, the last week and a half or so have been really challenging for all of us here at 20's Know It All. So, you know what? I'll be honest with you, I'm so happy that we are getting this episode out. I want to say congratulations to our soundboard guy, Adrian. He recently got a new job, so kudos to him. And this is not just a crappy job, this is a real big boy job. He'll be working the same place with our director, Tony. So they are getting a great start to their careers, so kudos to them. You know what? Last week, I kind of got to this little introduction. So I think I'm going to try to do this every week because it gives me like 2 minutes to vent. So I'm going to start. Why the fuck are Christians mad at Starbucks? Does anybody have an answer for me? Because I sure as fuck don't have one. Seriously, have you guys been reading about this? The Christians, not all of them, of course, but the ones who are mad, are upset that Starbucks' Christmas cup is just red. Normally it has like a snowflake or a little dove or, something that's very Christmassy. You know what, to me, the colors of Christmas have been green and red. Okay? So the cup's red, the emblem's green and white. That to me, whenever I first saw it, I'm like, that's their holiday cup. That's cool. These Christians are livid, and they are making such a big deal. But oh wait, there's more. To get back at them, they're saying their names are Merry Christmas. Guys, it is your holiday. It is not everyone's holiday. Will you please just be happy with the fact that you have your Starbucks and you're celebrating your holiday? Because if you get your holiday cheers off of Starbucks, that's a little pathetic. Okay? If you are relying on Starbucks for your Christmas cheer, that says more about you than it does about them. So, just shut the fuck up. Seriously, just shut the fuck up. In fact, you know what? Here, let me pull my mic, or not my mic, my mic's already in front of me. I want to pull up my computer real quick. I also want to bring up real quick what happened recently on the Mizzou campus. With the 1950 protest. I'll be honest with you guys. For those of you who are saying, well, racism is everywhere, you should just deal with it. You know what? Shut the fuck up. All right? Because these are fucking people. All right? This is a group of people of which I am not African American, nor am I a minority. So, well, I technically am, but it's a long story. So for us to say, as the majority say, oh, just deal with your racism, that's really fucked up, all right? So these people should not have to go on a fucking school campus that they're paying $100,000 for their education to be called the N-word and to be mocked and to have a poop swastika in the bathroom. That's right. There was a shit swastika smeared in a bathroom at Mizzou. These people should not have to deal with it, all right? And I for one, I'm bothered by that, but I'm almost as much bothered by the fact that people are just like, oh, just deal with your problems. Just deal with the racism. It's like, no. And if your argument is, well, it happens everywhere, that's like the argument of, well, the bad guy was doing it too, so you should arrest them, but you're just picking on me. It's like, no, this is not okay. This is not fucking kosher. You should try to be a decent human being to everybody because they have fucking feelings, they have hearts, they have brains, they have souls. So when you people are like just okay with casual racism or just, oh look, there's a group of N-words, let's call them that. It's like, what the hell's the matter with you people? Why would you think that that is perfectly acceptable? So you know what? I support the firing of President Tim Wolf, because that man handled all of those several instances listed since October in a horrible fashion. And now I know this isn't very funny, and I'm not sorry if you disagree with me. I have my opinions just like you have your own. So if you disagree with me, that's fine. It is your choice. But I just wanted to vent that out there because there seemed to have been a lot of backlash. Also, fuck you Starbucks people. One last thing, if you saw the Rams game, if you saw that hit Jamarcus Joyner did on Teddy Bridgewater, look, real quick, that was an illegal hit, okay? That was a dirty hit. It was a dirty play. He's not a dirty player like Ndamukong Suh. But that was a horrible fucking hit. We should be ashamed of ourselves. He should have gotten fined and suspended. I want to thank you all for tuning in to 20's Know It All. Our first guest tonight will be Kyle. And welcome back to 20's Know It All. I am your host, Dylan. Guys, today we have Kyle back in the studio. Last time, Kyle and I, well, mostly Kyle, spoke about the topic of skateboarding. Now, this week, I want to do something totally different with Kyle, and this is something he's mentioned a few times, but it was actually a coworker of ours who really drove it home, was gangster rap. And Kyle, we've talked about a lot of things, but to be honest with you, we never really spoke about music. Take it away, buddy. What kind of gangster rap do you like?
Well, the most rap I listen to comes from the mid '90s, and to me that was the best part of hip hop because you had albums like Illmatic by Nas and all these amazing albums. Doggy Style by Snoop Dogg is my favorite album. We had all these really good albums come out, and a lot of people say even today that Illmatic was the best album ever recorded, and which I agree with. That was one of the best. And then there's The Chronic by Dr. Dre that came out.
That one I actually know.
Yeah, that one's one of my favorites too. And I don't know. I feel like it's the type of beats and the type of instruments used in their beats, which is so much better than it is today.
When you say their beats, give an example. Who do you mean? Do you mean Dr. Dre? Do you mean Snoop Dogg? Do you mean Nas? Do you mean Jay-Z? Do you mean who? Go down the list, brother.
Well, it's kind of 90s hip hop in general.
Okay, well, come on, give a
list. Because Dr. Dre, he's one of the best producers who ever lived, probably is the best one, and he's got some really good beats, and they all just use these super creative, what they call samples, of other songs that they put in their songs. And if you can make a beat around one of those, like Dr. Dre can, then I think that's amazing. That's my favorite rap to listen to. And then when you hear it today, it's all computerized, super fast hi-hats and a lot of bass and stuff. And
what's a hi-hat? I'm sorry, I don't know what that is.
A hi-hat is the symbol, the...
Oh, okay.
And so a lot of, they use super fast, hi-hats and all these, fake sounds that they made. And it just doesn't sound like real hip-hop anymore, yeah.
Okay. So you told me you generally know 90s hip-hop with just a smidgen of 80s. If you had to pick your favorite artist from that decade, top 3 favorite artists, who would they be?
I think number 1 would have to be Snoop Dogg, just because I love listening to Doggy Style. It's one of my favorite albums. And then number 2 would probably be Dr. Dre, because him and Snoop Dogg together are
I was going to say, didn't they make The Chronic?
Yeah,
that's what I thought. Okay.
And Dre's on a lot of Snoop Dogg songs, and Snoop's on a lot of Dre songs. So
they both kind of fed off each other pretty well.
Since they were both on Death Row Records.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm really glad you brought up Death Row Records. I have always heard of Suge Knight, but let me ask you a question. Do you think he had any knowledge of killing Tupac Shakur? Because that man's been, until recently, whenever he got incarcerated for those 2 deaths on the set of Straight Outta Compton, of running 2 people over and killing them, it was pretty well documented that man had a bloodlust-like attitude towards people in the way he would just take people out just like that. Do you think it's possible maybe he had an involvement with Tupac? Because there were a lot of rappers in the last few years who were like, yeah, he was the one who killed Tupac in Las Vegas.
I really don't know. I haven't done a lot of research with stuff like that. That's just something you'll never know, because I'm not sure there's any way to prove it now. But,
well, there's no way to prove it, but
a lot of people are leaning towards that.
A lot of people are, because they were saying at Death Row Records when Tupac was recording songs like California Love, Dear Mama,
Hail Mary.
Hail Mary, that's right, thank you. Whenever he was recording that, he was doing that in Death Row Records, but it was Dre who signed him. And if I remember correctly, didn't Tupac actually leave Death Row Records in the middle of a contract dispute with Suge Knight?
I'm actually not sure about that. I'm not really sure what happened with them, but I know a bunch of people that were on death row, they had some of those things going on, so some of them left. So it could have happened with Tupac.
It could have. It definitely could have. But man, what's funny is some people, of course, Suge Knight, he hasn't seen the movie Straight Outta Compton, but we all know the famous party scene when Dr. Dre is very upset with everybody. Now, of course, that could have been exaggerated, which is very possible because it's a movie. At the same time, though, the way they glorify the thug life, not the thug life, I should say the successful rap artists. You've noticed something. A lot of the rap artists who have been like, oh, that actually sort of kind of happened, like those wild and crazy ass parties. It honestly would not surprise me, dude, very much if that actually happened. If some of that crazy ass shit that they showed just a little bit in the movie actually did happen. I mean, you got all that money and you fucking kill people and shit, and you kind of glorify it in your own mannerisms. I mean, it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm sure the movie didn't really show everything about them.
No, hell
Because,
no.
yeah, when people have a lot of money, like some people just tend to do weird things with it. And I guess that's what they did at Death Row.
I mean, hell, Suge Knight, like I said, I would like to repeat myself, guys. He recently got incarcerated for killing two people on the set of this movie whenever it was being made. He scared the shit out of everybody. So to get my point across, for years prior to this movie, this man has been linked to what? Like unofficially over like 30 different killings in the rap
something
game.
like that.
I mean, it's just, his name has just been dropped in so many. What's funny is, everyone's always like, well, there's no evidence. There's a good phrase that I like to go by. When there's smoke, there's fire. His name kept popping up a lot, and that to me is very suspicious. And he was huge in the 90s rap game. Well, you could argue also late 80s. But, in the early 90s to about 97, he was pretty damn big. It was pretty interesting with what he was doing. But, Kyle, man, if you had to pick a rap artist that you would like to meet, in fact, wait a minute, didn't you talk to a big famous rap artist?
Yeah, I did. I think it was like a few months ago. I followed DJ Paul on Twitter from 3-6 Mafia, and in the bio of his Twitter, it said it had an email that you could contact, and then you could try to set up an interview with DJ Paul. And so at first I emailed him, not thinking like to actually interview him because I just wanted to talk to DJ Paul.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, I emailed them and they responded and we set something up and I turned it into where I could do it for my publications at my school. So it turned into an actual like interview. And then I got to talk to DJ Paul for about like 30 minutes or so, and it was pretty cool.
Nice, man. All right, so I know I'm technically on my show, but I'm very curious. What did you ask DJ Paul? Because 3-6 Mafia, they're the first rap group to win a fucking Oscar. I mean, that was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, like I did some research before to kind of like find out some like more odd things that DJ Paul did.
I hope you did. Shit.
And so like I started asking him about like the Mafia 6 and their new group and like how that's been going. And then I knew that he likes to cook a lot.
Really?
So I asked him about that, and I found out that he actually has his own barbecue sauce company.
That's cool.
And he has like some barbecue sauces, like some seasonings, and I think a rub. And I never even knew that about him. And then I asked him about how he started cooking and stuff like that. And he that was his longest answer in the interview. He just went on about how he started cooking.
Well, I'm sure he probably likes the fact that someone was asking something different than typical, music shit. But that's kind of part of the game. When you're in music, they're gonna ask you. That's actually pretty cool. You actually kind of dig. You dug deep with him. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was really cool because I listened to him. I've been listening to him for like a few years now, and it was pretty cool just to be able to interview him.
Nice, man. Nice. That's fucking rad. Dude, fucking 3-6 Mafia is pretty dope. Did you ever see that movie Hustle and Flow?
No, I haven't.
That is the movie with Terrence Howard that kind of got him to stardom. That song, It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp, by 3-6 Mafia. Yeah, that was featured in that movie, Hustle and Flow. That's how they won that Oscar.
That's how they got the Oscar.
Yeah, you should consider seeing that, Kyle. I think you would definitely like that song. Also, guess who else is in there? Ludacris. It's got Ludacris in there. He actually kind of plays like a kind of an asshole rapper, sort of. But yeah, man, you should definitely consider seeing Hustle and Flow. It's a pretty good movie. I actually enjoy it.
Yeah, and like the Oscar, just like a little fun fact. I was talking to DJ Paul, and he said that night that they won the Oscar,
they were drunk as shit, right?
Yeah, and they went to a party, and someone else was there that won an Oscar, and they ended up like hitting theirs together. And actually, like, chipped a little part of DJ Paul's off. So his Oscars, like, got a little chip on it now.
That's hilarious. Toast, ting. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Never would have known that without interviewing him, though.
Nah, man, that's fucking rad. That's great, man. For real, that really fucking is. I'm kind of jealous. The only person I've ever talked to on Twitter that actually responded was I got Chris Long, the Rams defensive end.
Really?
Yeah. I don't remember what the hell I said to him, but occasionally he'll post something and I'll respond, and he'll actually respond to me. So that's like, oh, Chris Long,
Yeah.
I have your jersey.
It feels cool whenever something like that
It
happens.
really does. There's a YouTube personality, Nick Mundy. I follow him. I watch his YouTube stuff on Screen Junkies. So I tweeted him sometimes. He'll actually respond to me and shit. Like, he and I talked baseball a few times. We made fun of movies. I was like, oh my gosh, this is... Oh, who? Me? Shucks.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's fucking rad, dude. You know what? Can I ask you a question about something kind of totally different, just totally unrelated?
Sure.
You know what? I didn't know this, but I totally forgot. After we did the skateboarding segment last time, I started watching some more Tony Hawk's Pro Skater stuff. I completely forgot that Lil Wayne loves skateboarding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's like fucking obsessed with it.
And it's honestly kind of a bummer for the skate game.
Why?
Because Lil Wayne, like, he'll be wearing all these weird clothes and stuff and trying to look cool. And he'll be going to all these skate parks and skating with these, like, super good dudes that are, like, super cool. And he'll just go there, and he's not good at all. Like, he sucks, honestly. And he can, like, only do pop shove-its and stuff.
Are you...
And so he goes to these skate parks and posts all these videos and tweets everything like, I love skateboarding, but then he's not even into it, like, as much as everyone else is.
Damn. Kyle just slammed Lil Wayne.
That's a thing, but that's been going on in skating for a while. Just people not being down with Lil Wayne unless they have to, like the pro ones do. And
damn.
so
I had no idea it was that. Damn, that went a different direction, folks. I was expecting Kyle to be like, yeah, and instead I was like, actually, he fucking sucks.
and that's the same with Justin Bieber too.
Oh,
So-
oh, dude, come on, don't, no.
Yeah, no one likes that one.
Oh, Bieber, your voice sounds like someone castrated you. But apparently you fucked Selena Gomez. I'm not so sure on that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't know about that. Oh, man, this was fucking rad. All right, Kyle, I want to thank you very much for being on the show today, brother.
Thanks, bud.
Hope you enjoyed this segment, man, with gangster rap. So our coworker, you know what I'm talking about with the gangster rap. He's like, I want to be on the show. Do you think we should have him on the show, Kyle? Yay or nay? You could say yay or nay.
I'm gonna say yay.
You're gonna say yay?
Yeah.
All right, fucking A, man. He knows cars too, so he and I could definitely do that segment.
Oh yeah, he knows a lot about cars. Too.
Oh yeah, all right, guys. I'm egotistical, but he does know more than me. I'm like, shit. All right, you got me beat. Damn.
Yeah, that'd
Feeling
be
a
a good one.
little humiliated here. All right, well, I want to thank you again for coming on the show, man. I want to thank you all for listening to 20's Know It All. We will be right back. And welcome back to 20's Know It All. Guys, I'll be honest with you. My mood the last, week has been atrocious. And you know what? Tonight, I love doing these podcasts. And, Director Tony, Pete,
Hello.
Kyle, they're making me feel so much better. It really is. But before we get on with Pete, I have one thing to say. Boobs, 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 boobs. Boobs, 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 boobs.
Midget Tony.
Show us your boobs.
Midget Tony.
Show us your
Midget
boobs.
Tony.
Boobs. Tony. All right, that was for our director, Tony, because we love him. Ladies, I do not encourage, of course, and Tony made a shot in the trash can. Boobs. Alrighty, so that's gonna be the segment for today. Every single intermission, just boobs.
Yeah, no, actually, guys, that's it. I'll see you next week.
All right, my 5 minutes is up.
Yeah, sorry.
You know what? Speaking of boobs today, Pete Sheridan wants to talk about.
I hate you. Wait, what am
Pete Sheridan
I? Okay.
wants to talk about video games today. Now, guys, as you know, I love video games, but it's mostly the whole paying for them thing and me being broke. That's the problem. I do keep up with them. I do have one old video game system I do like to play now and again. But let's try to keep it modern games. Pete, Fallout 4 comes out today, correct?
No, tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow, but there's
Yes.
a big midnight sale.
Yeah.
And Facebook and Dorkly, College
Yeah.
Humor, Zergnet, Cracked,
Everybody's
fucking
going fucking
YouTube,
nuts.
holy sugar tit, damn
People
hell.
are going
Watch
insane.
Mojo. People are going nuts for Fallout 4. And I'll be honest with you, did you play Fallout 3?
Oh yeah, I put.
I played
many
Fallout 3
hours.
too, and even though it was very, you immerse yourself in this post-apocalyptic world. I'll be honest with you, man. I did enjoy it. But Can you please explain to me, as a man who's not a diehard fan, the appeal behind this? Because it seems like the internet's exploding over this. And is it just because it's basically Fallout 3 Part 2 with better graphics? Or, like, what is this?
No, and see, I think a big part of any of the Fallout games is the immersion, like you were talking about. So it's just, it makes such a world around you that it's something that you don't really lose interest in, Midget Tony. And you just, like, kind of, like I said, immerse yourself into this. All the characters and boobs. All the characters are so well put together, Midget Tonys, that they have like little characters that are small that might look like somebody you know. And it just kind of like rings a bell to you. That last part was a joke, but...
Let's get back on track. It's also staying there.
Okay. So,
all right, I just
sorry about
just
that, guys. Got a little personal. But,
all right.
yes,
so it immerses yourself in a big rack of worlds.
Yes. That is probably my favorite thing about that game.
So would you say it's like a big, like, double world, like, you know, gigantic, just big ones? That's good.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Oh,
you know, at first they seem kind of smallish in size, but then when you get playing into the world, it expands so much. It's wonderful. It's just wonderful. And, you know, as much as I love good, wonderful, expansion-sized games,
Dylan,
sometimes I like what?
are you still talking about movies, video games?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Because all video games start off small. Then once you play and they grow up, they become so big and just wonderful. And you truly appreciate from where you started to how, you know, you get, you know, how you finish.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes it's not about how you start, it's how you finish.
So Fallout 4.
Yeah, Fallout 4. Like, you know, how do you think that's going to finish? Do you think... Because it's like the story in Fallout 3 was like, you know, you start off in that bunker with, what was he called? Like the Overseer, all hail the... what was he called? Liam Neeson played the voice.
I have terrible memory of anything. I just remember that I like certain things. Is that awful?
Smidgen, but it's okay. Yeah. That's okay. We love you, Pete.
I love you too.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to say that this is for for Pete's sake, isn't it? I didn't say that.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm here.
If I'm here, it's like, I'm regular enough, Dylan. Calm down. You know what games I always liked, honestly?
What?
Whenever I used to love fighting games.
Yes.
If any of my friends are listening, Cody and Andy, they used to know, but not realistic fighting games. I could not play a UFC game to save my life.
Yeah, no, I'm terrible at UFC.
But if it was obviously like a fantasized one, like, you know, Marvel vs. Capcom, Mortal Kombat, Tekken.
Tekken is my favorite. That is
I gotta admit, out of all the fantasy ones, that was my Achilles heel.
Really?
Oh, dude. Oh, man, that game, because you had to do all those half circles and half moves, you couldn't do like a full on. And if your controller was a little shoddy, or if you were sweating, or if you were in a hurry, you know, you had to really self-discipline.
Or like a controller that's not broken in all the way. That's the worst.
Here's the thing is, if it's too broken or too far gone, it's not recognizing the half circles. I'm sorry, guys, I should explain. For those of you who played fighting games, easier fighting games like Mortal Kombat have you do like full circles or full swings of your joystick. Tekken, though, was different, and they did this way back on the PlayStation 1, where you would have to use what they called quarter circles, where you move it just a little bit in the direction, or it was a quarter circle forward, then back, all in that same area of the analog. And then it became a challenge on whether or not the game would recognize it. So for me in Tekken, I always had trouble. Now, there was one Tekken game I loved. It was Street Fighter X Tekken for the Xbox 360. Now, I loved Street Fighter. Actually, one of my sister's friends really got me into Street Fighter. I was never, like, great at it, but I was good at it. My favorite character, of course, was Lee.
That makes sense.
Who was basically Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Because I could do him so well. Oh, you know what else was another one of my favorite fighting games? The Marvel vs. Capcom series. When it was Marvel vs. Capcom 2 became downloadable on the Xbox 360, I loved that game. You had so many characters. Then Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out, and you could play as Deadpool and Dante.
Okay, yeah. I was trying to remember if I played that or not. I remember playing as Deadpool.
All right, you know how we're all going to the Tilt Arcade?
Yeah.
They have a big machine from Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Soul Calibur 2.
Are we trying to have like a tournament?
Outstanding. Dude, my personal favorite though fighting, you know, I'm sorry, I'm not letting you talk now, but real quick, my personal favorite fighting, guys, Mortal Kombat. I was fucking good at it. I highly doubt this person's listening, but if you remember whenever I used to play as Nightwolf, for Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, y'all got knocked the fuck out. 63% combo damage.
See, like,
Fucking awesome.
Mortal Kombat's probably one of my least favorite.
Fighting games or just games?
Just fighting games.
Why?
See, I'm not really sure. I've never really been able to, like, put my finger on it. It's just something about it doesn't reach out to me as much
I
as
thought
other
you would
games.
love the gore and shit and the
Oh, I do. I love the gore.
The fatalities and the brutalities.
I definitely love, like, the
Fire.
gore and all that stuff, but the actual fighting aspect of it, that's my top game for that. I'd probably have to give to Soul Calibur.
Oh, Soul Calibur 1? Wait, hold on. Now, here's the thing. Do you mean Soul Edge, Soul Calibur 2, Soul Calibur...
Soul Calibur 2 was my favorite.
See...
That was the one they always had in the arcades I went to,
Yes.
where I used to
and
live.
the one that had
was the
Link
best.
for GameCube only.
Yes.
Whenever I was a kid, I really should let you be talking more, Pete. Keep going on Soul Calibur. I got so much to say. Go.
Oh, it's just like Soul Calibur, the way the fighting is in that game, it's really great, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of how you're talking about Tekken, with the special moves you have to do.
See, I like their special move setup better in Soul Calibur than I did Tekken, though.
Yeah, I'm talking like just the way it kind of flows together.
That's true.
I don't really like Mortal Kombat that much, just because I feel it's a little bit more button mashy than other games. Some of the earlier ones, the newer ones have fixed it a little bit.
That's fair. I get it. I don't agree with you honestly, but I do. Well, this is an old argument against Mortal Kombat, because what you and I just stepped out on, which is a huge argument, was which one was more complicated, Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. Of course, it was Street Fighter.
Yeah.
But which one you could argue though, as far as sales and numbers, Mortal Kombat was always right there, neck and neck, or even a little better. But obviously, still to me, honestly, all great games. I love fighting games. Soul Calibur 2, I just want to share this with you real quick, and my brother Ian is listening. Whenever we got a GameCube, my friends kind of made fun of me because they all had PS2s.
I love GameCube.
See, I did too, but when that game came out, they were all jealous because I had Link, motherfuckers. Oh, dude, it was awesome, and I love playing as Link. I love playing as Raphael. That was that was my brother's best character. I was good at Raphael, but he was, he could just beat the shit out of you. And what's funny is later, as I kept playing, he stopped. I was with my friends in Soul Calibur 5, the one that came out for the Xbox 360 one, has Ezio, which wasn't very good.
Yeah, I never played that one.
It was okay. I mean, it's nothing spectacular. But I would be Raphael just, and he had this little combo. Oh, man, I'm sorry. I'm getting stuck on fighting games. So back to video games, guys.
Games in general.
Sorry.
There was one game I want to talk about, because I want to talk about some upcoming games of, 2016. And one of them that I'm really looking forward to is the first, Tom Clancy game that I've been excited about for a while.
Do tell, because there's been a lot of Tom Clancy-based video games.
Tom Clancy, The Division. Have you heard of that?
No. I've known about his Rainbow Six Vegas. I know about Splinter Cell.
They just had Siege.
Oh, and then they did one. It was like the Apocalypse one, or the one where the government did a total takeover. Okay, but Tom Clancy Division.
Yeah, The Division.
What is it?
Okay, so it's based on this
Boobs.
government boobs. It's based on a government thing that went down in 2001 called Dark Winter.
Okay.
And basically, it was a simulation that they did to do a mock bioterrorist attack of smallpox.
Holy shit.
To see how they would, our director knows, to see how they would react to it, the response time basically.
This is a video game?
Yeah, well, this is something that actually happened.
Oh my god. I thought this was made up. Holy shit.
No, the game is based on this though. The game takes it further and makes it to where it's not a simulation, it's reality in their world.
Oh my god.
And you play as the Division, which was the team that was sent out to do this. And basically they just lose control of it. It ends up killing a majority of the population.
Of the world or America? Where?
I'm pretty sure I think it might be world, honestly. I don't remember for sure. But yeah, I think it is.
Jesus Christ, why would you want to play a game like that?
Well, because what you do is you play afterwards, so you're what's left of the Division trying to find survivors. There's a line.
Okay.
There's a line.
Okay. Tony's doing the dance thing with his hands. He got jazz hands.
Yeah, they're playing jazz in the studio. It's no big deal. But
Boobs.
Yeah, boobs. But yeah, so like I said, you're playing as the Division afterwards. So you're trying to find survivors.
With boobs?
Yeah. or men also. I guess they can too.
Who also have boobs.
Yeah. But the game is just set up beautifully. Like the map system, the way they do the map, it's really like it combines the best things of third-person shooter with like MMO.
Now you have my attention.
I love third-person. Third-person shooter mixed with MMO, action game, and like survivalist game.
Did you like the third-person shooter of Gears of War style? Did you like that? I thought it was a little slow.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like that's fast.
No, it's really nice, and it's like full open world.
Okay.
And the way they do it is it's not like any normal MMO game. It kind of has just features of that, but you don't have a certain person you have to talk to for missions or anything like that. They have like this nice little cool watch pops up the map like projected underneath your feet, and you can just pick areas on the map to go and start new missions, things like that.
Nice.
Just the whole concept of it looks great to me.
That sounds radical, which I know I just said radical, but I mean that does sound pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, you dated yourself.
I don't mind. I also say bitchin'. And it's really funny, stupid side note. Worst segue ever. I once said bitchin' at a gas station. I once said bitchin' in a gas station, and the guy goes, "Oh, is that back? Like, can we say that again?" I'm like, I have no idea. I said, he's like, "Oh."
Wait, was he surprised or like really excited?
He was, and he was like, "Oh, is that a thing again? Like, oh, can I start saying that again? Bitchin'."
Oh, so he's been waiting.
I feel like it's the people who were like upset whenever went away.
That never goes away.
Basically, Steve Carell.
That never goes away.
Or not Steve Carell, Michael Scott. All right. Man, I gotta admit though, see, I'll be honest with you, the post-apocalyptic games and like The Last of Us, it doesn't depress me, but just like, I like to play games that I can get away from that because, I don't know, I kind of sound like a bitch, but I like my fantasy games. I love Legend of Zelda. I love fighting games. Now, I do like certain war games.
Yeah.
Certain Call of Duties are awesome. There are a lot of those that are shit.
Black Ops 2 is always great.
I love Black Ops 2.
Love it so much.
Black Ops 1, 2, and I heard Black Ops 3 for the first time in a long time. It's actually, people are really liking it.
I played the early access. It was pretty fun.
Yeah. You know what Call of Duty sucked balls? Thank God I didn't play this, but I heard it was awful? Ghosts.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Apparently,
I spent money on it. I was so
and their
disappointed.
mother was like, "This is shit."
They got it back a little bit with Advanced Warfare.
You see, I heard. I heard
there's
that game was
definitely
like a little bit like a part of like a game that was supposed to be a big game, but it wasn't, called Titanfall. Do you kids remember that? See,
Titanfall's awful though. That's the thing. Like Advanced Warfare, in mine, I feel like a lot of people's opinion is way better than Titanfall.
See, man, that's
which
just
Titanfall could have been awesome.
You know what? I actually want to segue into this because this is actually one of our topics of how games and their release dates are starting to remind me, and I mentioned this to Pete and Tony today. Tony's the director. Boobs. Of that, they are coming out almost like movie schedules. It's like you will have your February release, which is normally for a movie a shit month, but for a video game, because of the late holidays, it's like, okay, what can we try to get the most of? Then you have your summer releases, and then you have your winter releases, and then the ones that come out in September and October are usually the sports games. And I feel like, a lot of these games are coming out are pretty fucking subpar. I'm tired of all these bugs. I'm going to give a few examples. I don't have the list in front of me, but if you guys think I'm wrong, please comment. But no, don't look it up. I actually know this off the top of my head. Assassin's Creed Syndicate, that's one that's coming out, right?
That already came out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. That's the one that had like the biggest problems from launch ever.
Yeah.
And they had ridiculous amounts of updates. And I'm tired of the fact that game developers think, oh, well, because they have internet access, we can release a half-ass made game and then just send out a 5 gigabyte patch. It's like, what the fuck's the matter with you people? Like, your game should be about 99%. It should be almost ready to go.
Give or take.
Yeah. I respect that sometimes you need an update because there's just an error. That used to happen. A good example of a great game that had a lot of those, but people understood, was Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, yes.
I love that game.
It was so much fun.
Oh, one of my favorite games of all time. Top 5, easy, no question.
Oh, yeah.
That game had a lot of errors when it first came out.
It did.
And there still did.
Some of them were kind of funny.
Oh, yeah, like the flying buffalo one.
The Manimals.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the Manimals. You could keep killing the Sasquatches.
Oh, yeah.
The one when your horse would disappear, you would get stuck on rocks, and then you have to restart your Xbox. God help you if you didn't have autosave on, because, damn. The Multi-Man Online was just unless you did a private lobby with your friends, it was just you'd be walking along 10,000 yards away. Dude.
I was that guy.
Yeah, I actually had friends who once tortured this guy until he quit. He kept resurrecting at the same spot. They found a spawn spot, and they kept throwing those flame cocktails at him, burning him alive.
Yeah, see, me and my friends used to kind of just be far away with like a really good rifle.
Yeah. But I'm sorry, what I'm getting at is, guys, is nowadays game developers are just like, all right, we have a set schedule. They're not going by the demand for the game. They're not going by the desire. They're not going by even the need for it, a.k.a. Half-Life 3.
Sometimes not even
Half-Life
like the
3. Are you listening, Valve? Half-Life 3. The people want it. Instead, Boobs, they want to just have this release date and just, hey, oh, what do you mean? Oh, the game's only 40% done? Put it on the shelf. We'll give an update in 2 weeks.
You know,
I mean, another great example, Tony Hawk.
don't get me started on Tony Hawk.
Oh, that game was such a big pile of shit. Here's the thing, though. The disc on that, I believe they said, was 4.4 gigabytes. I'm not done yet.
Which one, though?
The one that just came out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5.
Yeah.
The total on that disc was 4.4 gigabytes. That is not big by today's game standards at all. This is where it gets better. The firmware update for that game, like the entire update, 5.6. Bigger than the fucking game.
See,
You know what that says to me? Activision and Tony Hawk just like took their dicks out and just jacked off onto a disc and said, "Give me money."
I mean, isn't that what you do with everything? I thought that's how you make money. Anyway, video games.
You don't know me. You don't know what I do in my downtime, Mr. Peter Sheridan.
All right, are you like snapping? What's going on? Did you get something stuck? Okay, he's chewing gum.
You know what that sound means, baby.
Yeah, lots of gum. But Tony Hawk, I always
Big
like
pieces of gum. Big round pieces of gum.
with midgets. I always loved Tony
Boobs.
Hawk just because that was like the game that I would play whenever I was growing up. That was what I always played, like me and my brothers and everything.
Yeah.
But
Wait, 1, 2, or 3? Which one?
all of them.
Oh, okay.
Like we played through them.
Oh, right.
And I remember I just like I kind of started giving up after American Wasteland.
That was one that had Bam Margera in there. They were like tagging places with their skateboards, right, or some shit.
No, American Wasteland was the one where you're in. I believe you start in Hollywood. I think so.
I know people liked Underground, right?
Yeah, Thug 1 and Thug 2.
Yeah.
I'll get to those in a second. But American Wasteland was one of my favorites just because that was the one where you skated certain obstacles and you could collect those obstacles to put inside of your skate park that you're building.
Right on.
So you got like I remember one thing is like a dinosaur that you put in the middle of the skate park.
Yeah.
It was like on some like movie building, and you could just grind down a dinosaur's back and shit. And I loved it.
A
'cause you
big
could
blue
go,
dinosaur, nice.
Yeah, big booty dinosaur. And you could just go around to all these different places and just get all this stuff to make your own skate park. And I always thought that was the coolest thing.
That actually does sound pretty dope.
And I probably played through maybe 3 or 4 times and like redid the whole thing. It was great.
Dude.
I just remember there's one part that I thought was so unnecessary. I loved it as a kid, but now that I think about it, it's so unnecessary. Some guy couldn't like get to, I think, Los Angeles, some area in Los Angeles through the subway because the police were blocking it. So you have to like go up on a building and do an acid drop onto a cop car, and the guy pulls out a fucking bazooka and like blows up the tunnel entrance.
What?
and
What?
Then that's how you get to the next area.
I feel like this was like written by like 9-year-olds who watched their 13-year-old punk brothers like smoke a cigarette in their upstairs room and hope mom and dad.
My brother
didn't
smoked
smell
a cigarette once.
And he doesn't have lung cancer, officer.
Officer.
Boobs. Boobs.
Officer Midget.
All right, Pete, I want to
2.
thank you very much for being on the show today, brother.
No problem.
I know we didn't follow our topic that well, but I'll be honest with you, I think we enjoyed ourselves. That was actually a lot of fucking fun. Pete, it's always great to have you on the show.
I just wiped my nose.
He just...
Sorry, little shade thrown it on.
Oh
director.
my God.
He's fine though.
I want to thank you all very much for listening to 20's Know It All. I am your host, Dylan, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Bye, guys.
And welcome back to 20's Know It All. I am your host, Dylan. Guys, for the first time, I think since like the second episode.
It's been a while. 3 weeks now. It's been 3 weeks.
Okay. All right. For
episodes.
the first time in 3 weeks, we have our director, Tony, back in the studio. Tony knows sports. This man loves hockey. We originally had something else set up for Tony to do with a friend of mine. Unfortunately, that did not happen tonight. But I think Tony can still pull this off. For those of you who love hockey,
Hockey.
Allison, you're gonna want to be listening to this. It's pretty fucking rad. I'm sorry. Thank you for tuning back into 20's Know It All.
Surprise! We're
Name
here.
drop, bitches. Boobs.
Anyways.
Alrighty. So before we get into hockey, I just want to talk about baseball.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's right. I
Yeah.
forgot. Baseball's over. Never mind. No, I'm kidding. So baseball's over. The Cardinals did re-sign all their management to a 1-year deal.
Yep.
So that's pretty much in the baseball world for St. Louis.
And moving on.
Thank you, thank you, Tony. Anything else? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I think that's all.
For the Rams, that we lost 21-8. We lost 18-21 against the Vikings. As I mentioned earlier, I'm sure you've all heard about the hit that was making news everywhere for even non-sports people, which is kind of weird.
It was a gnarly hit.
No, that was a dirty hit. In my opinion, that was dirty.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I know I've already established that. Just that was a very big deal. So the Rams are going to try to move on from that. I hope they can.
Yeah.
I feel like that because there have been 3 QBs who've been knocked out this year. Ben Roethlisberger by us, Josh McCown. I don't like how that's considered we knocked him out. He ran into a wall in our stadium and we knocked him out. He ran into a wall. You are an adult man and that's our fault. You're a baby.
Yeah,
Now, I'll tell you, now Bridgewater though, that was a dirty hit. I'm ashamed. I'm not ashamed to say I'm a Rams fan, but I'm just when I saw that, I was watching. I was like, ooh, that's gonna be bad.
It was one of those almost because I watched it. That was one of the few things I did watch from the game over the weekend. Is I watched it. It was in one light you can see him try to.
He tries
away.
to pull up, and you know what's really annoying about all this? That's really getting on my nerves. Is everyone's he hit him with his elbow. The elbow, ladies and gentlemen, is the corner of your arm. If you look on where he was hit, he was actually hit on his forearm.
Yeah.
Now, when he started to make that tackle, he was already in the slide.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where you're in the heat of the moment, and all this happens within a few seconds. But in the end, it was a dirty hit, and I do love the Rams, but it's just guys, we have to acknowledge it. But it was not the elbow. A lot of reports are saying the elbow. That is incorrect. I want you all to watch the video. That's a forearm, not a fucking elbow. If it was a fucking elbow, his head would have been crushed, okay? Because LaMarcus Joyner is fast as shit. I think he's the second fastest Ram on the team behind Tavon Austin, I think. Maybe third. But moving away from that hit, next week we go against... no, it's not Oakland.
I don't know.
I don't even fucking know right now. We go against someone. We're probably going to win. Whoop, whoop, go Rams.
Woo-hoo.
Tony?
500 again.
We're 4-4 right now. That's not terrible, especially for us.
Okay. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention a lot.
Not paying attention, Tony. I'm just busting his balls with boobs. I'm going to let Tony take it away for the hockey guys because even though I love hockey and I'm proud of Jake Allen stopping 45 shots when we beat the Nashville Predators 4-0. That was beautiful. But he knows so much more tonight. Tony, take it away, bro.
All right. I got show notes. You can hear them.
You hear that? He's prepared.
I prepped.
Boobs.
So, okay, we're going to go back to the Kings game of last week, which made everyone question where our offense had gone. Jake Allen started that night, and
It did kind of disappear.
It was a weird night for us. We got shut out by the Kings, who were playing their backup goalie, not quick.
You know what's worse? I feel like we always play poorly against them. Am I crazy for saying that?
Last year we played really well against them. This year we're
In a few games.
no, we beat them every game last year.
We did?
Yes, we had two games against them in January, less than a week apart, where we beat them by 5 goals each game.
You see, guys, that's why I'm saying I'm not an expert on hockey.
So we had their number
Boobs.
last year. This year, I guess they're getting their revenge. But anyways, Allen went into the Kings game with a .98 goals out allowed against. He was the number 2 star overall the week before. The guy's been untouchable. And in the Kings game, you can't really blame him for allowing 3 goals when the Blues didn't even provide any offense to back him up. And the 3 goals that were allowed, 2 of them were on the power play. So you have to give him some leeway against that game where he got no offensive support.
I mean, we still have an incredible start this year.
We have a really good start. The Dallas Stars have a really, really good start. They're 1 point still ahead of us for the one spot in the Central. And Allen did all he could against the Kings. So then we go to the next night. The Blues couldn't land in Chicago Wednesday night. They had to go all the way up to Milwaukee and then bus down to Chicago.
They were saying they all slept on the bus. They didn't get any rest.
They didn't get into
They
town
were like living off
Red
Bulls and Red Bulls. I'm sorry, I meant Red Bulls and cocaine and boobs.
They didn't get into Chicago until 4 in the morning, and then they skip the morning skate, and then they go into the game. Man, that first period was rough.
What time was it?
They got to Chicago at 4 in the morning.
No, I mean, like, what time was the game? Wasn't it like during the day?
It was a 7 o'clock
start. Oh shit! I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
So the first period, within the first 3 minutes, there were 3 goals scored.
That's right.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, guys. The reason I'm getting excited. Do you remember how I made that Facebook post?
Yes.
Saying Vladimir Tarasenko would pull that out. I watched that game. I had it on mute though because I was watching it in a manner that's not exactly liked. I had like him on mute, and I was watching that game, and I was like, "Damn, what the hell's wrong with our team?"
Yeah.
And I was texting a friend of mine, and she's like, "What the fuck's wrong with us?" And then I'm sorry, I forgot all this, and then I remember hearing about all these problems with the travel and shit.
Yeah. You can't blame the travel fully, but it did have an effect. And it definitely had an effect on Elliott.
Dude, when you can't sleep, though, I mean...
No, I'm saying travel was an issue, but Elliott he was not sharp at all.
We pulled him, right?
Yeah, we pulled him after 4 goals. 1 was on a penalty shot, 1 was on a power play, and 2 were just even strength goals. So he got pulled, and then we only managed to score 2 goals in the
first period.
In the first period, yeah.
And then we caught up 3 more goals in the second.
Yeah, so then we put Allen in. Allen, 30 seconds into the game on the power, Blackhawks had a power play. They scored on him, and then he blanked them the rest of the game. Which, if we go back to before the Kings, I think that's 1 goal allowed in that game, and it wasn't even fully his fault because it was on a power play that was inherited. He had to stop. So, regardless, he allows 1 goal. The Blues, out of nowhere, rally back. It's fine. I'll restart so that way we can cut that section out. You good? All right. So the Blues rally back in the second period, scoring 3 goals. Colton Parayko, I know, had 1 of them. And we somehow just managed to get this team. And if you watch the goal from that period, the best goal was scored by Backus. If you watch it, the puck cuts across the crease right in front of the goaltender, and then Backus shoots it, hits the back of Crawford for it to go in. It was an amazing shot. It was an extremely, extremely sharp angle, and the only way he could do that goal was to bounce off the back of Crawford. So, and then we go to overtime, and from this point, Allen had made 6 really solid saves. He fought off the Blackhawks, and we get into overtime, and he had to make 3 or 4 more really, really good saves to open up Tarasenko for that game winner.
I was going to say, I would just like to add something. During that game, I had to stop watching for a few minutes. I missed a good portion of the second period, and I noticed, okay, we were down 5-2 at the end of the first, and then we caught up 5-5. 10 goals in 2 periods. I mean, that goes without saying. That's rare in hockey. That's really hard,
especially in the last few years.
Yeah, man. I mean, that is just not exactly common. And I was so proud of the Blues. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I guess I'm used to the Blues losing to the Blackhawks. I thought, okay, they're gonna win again because they're always considered the more superior team. And then we got into the third period, and our defense, we finally started getting bodies in front of Allen.
Yeah.
In the first and second period, we weren't doing that.
If you noticed,
we were not playing with bodies in front of Allen.
If you noticed the second period, we switched. We moved Petrangelo and Bouwmeester off the same line. Put Parayko with Petrangelo, because I mean, if you look at it, Bouwmeester and Petrangelo are our best defensemen.
Yes.
Isn't
he like our second fastest player on the team or first? He's fast as shit.
He's quick. I don't know where he ranks in
Well,
speed.
well, I know we got him for his speed.
I know Schwartz is probably the fastest.
Okay.
So I would say Bomeister's probably second. Because
I'm-
Bomeister's been springing on some plays here recently.
I'm sorry, guys. What I wanted to get back to was about the overtime. My fault. Before Tarasenko got that goal, if you guys remember, when that period first started, from the 5-minute mark to, I'd argue, about 2 minutes, they were in our zone.
Yes, and it was
And
scary.
they were. And did I make this analogy with you, or I think it was I've been with my brother. They were circling our net like sharks do prey.
Yeah.
Kane. What's the other big fucker from the Blackhawks? Kane. Not Kempe.
I
Shit.
can't remember his name.
Kane and 2 other guys. I'm sorry, guys. I cannot remember their names.
I
feel
know
like,
Seabrook was with him. Yes.
Thank you. That's what I'm seeing. No, but who was the other big one? The
I
other.
don't remember that.
I'm sorry, guys. So there are 3 guys were circling. I mean, actually circling the net. I'm thinking to myself, we're not gonna get the fucking puck out. Allen's gonna fucking panic.
And then he made the biggest save of the
He
whole game.
Made that save. I was like, oh shit!
Off of Kane's stick.
Off.
And he came perfectly, read that
And you
center
know what was
mass.
great about that all is the second the Blackhawks got the puck back, we just poked it right out.
Yep.
That was great. It looked like from an NHL hockey game whenever you do your poke check in the game and it never works. I can't remember who did. He just poked it and it went straight to Tarasenko. I was like,
Yeah.
did that just happen?
Yeah.
We get in their zone and I'm telling my friend, I'm like, Tarasenko's gonna get this. I got a feeling, and then we circled him a little bit for like 20 seconds. I was like, ooh.
Pietrangelo went in, shot right off right off the rush, and then got his own rebound, and then shot it right to Tarasenko, and Tarasenko put it
He
home.
went, well, here's the deal. Tarasenko set himself up in front of the net.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't think Crawford was going to let that through because you could clearly see Tarasenko. There was nobody in front of Crawford.
No screening at all.
Exactly. So I was like, no offense, Tarasenko. I mean, you're good, but just like Crawford's not a slouch goalie himself.
Well,
I mean, from what I know.
Yeah, well, it was glove side, and Crawford was going for the flashy save and just didn't get his glove up in time.
I'm okay with that.
And then
I
we
am
won.
so okay with that.
So then we move on to the next game against Nashville.
Before we get on that,
Okay.
I was listening to post-game speech because I was so stunned by that. First time since 1981
Yes.
that the Blues have recovered from a 3-point deficit in a game against the Blackhawks.
And
19
on Blackhawks ice.
Oh shit! I didn't even
Yeah.
know that. First time since 1981. My brother was born in '83.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, my brother's like, oh, I didn't know they'd done that. I'm like, yeah, Justin, '81. He's like, oh, right. I was like, yeah, man, it's freaking crazy. I mean, that's such a long time, but I feel like we need to remind ourselves a little bit. Like, we have to play every game because get to the Predators, because there was something I noticed about that. Even though we won, we shut them out. That's great. Defense, we had no bodies in front of Allen at all.
Our defense,
Nothing.
Defense looked a little
Slouch? They look like shit.
45 shots on goal.
That is ridiculous. Any other game, guys, we should have lost technically.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Normally when a team shoots almost double your shots on goal.
Nashville does have one of the highest shots on goal.
Now that's true. My brother
So,
did say something about that. That's a fair point, but still
45
is
is
ridiculous.
Insane, and to have 45 shots and no goal.
You have 60 minutes of playtime.
Yeah. Almost a shot a minute.
Yeah, it's just like, damn.
Yeah, and our power play finally came alive that day.
It did. Our power play's been shit this year.
Our power play is ranked really low this year.
I thought we were dead last at one point.
We might have been.
It's just like, hey guys, we have man advantage. Don't worry about it. We got plenty of time. We got 2 minutes. I need to get some coffee.
Yeah. It just kind of we couldn't get into the zone, and then
get in the zone.
We got 2 power play goals, and we got both from defensemen. We got our first one from Parayko, which was beautiful setup by Brouwer and Gomez.
That really was.
It was amazing. We moved that puck so well. We stunned Rene.
That's just it. I want us to be able to play kind of like the Kings and Blackhawks sort of have been. That I know we always generally play consistently good. I want us to break that like Eklan and just really play at 100% consistent, just beat the ever-loving shit out of you hockey.
And I think this is the year that we've been the most consistently doing that. The Kings lost.
Yeah.
Named the loss before that. We've gone on win streaks more frequently this year. It hasn't been one game, not another. We've won 3, lose 1, maybe win 4, lose 1. Because, I mean, we're still second place in the division.
We are.
The only thing separating us from the Stars is a shootout
Maybe
loss.
it's due to my ignorance because I it's not 100% my sport.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I've been trying to pay attention to this team since I was a child because my brother.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it feels like every single year we always do great in the regular season. I'll be honest with you, guys. Maybe I've just been beat down by we're like Peyton Manning. We always do great in the regular season, except for this year, Peyton Manning. I mean, like old Peyton Manning. You all know what I mean. When it comes to the playoffs, it's just I feel like I can believe again when we, without a doubt, really win in the playoffs beyond this in the second round or higher.
Yeah. And fun fact, the 3 or 4 times the Blues have been in the Stanley Cup, they've been 4 games swept out of it.
Yep.
So, yeah, we've got a lot to overcome to win a Stanley Cup.
At the same time, though, we do have a very talented fucking team.
Yes.
What? God, that sounds like such a bad way to say it. It's like I don't know anything about hockey. I'll just say something generic. We have a talented team.
But this year,
they are talented.
This year
Boobs.
we've picked up more playoff potential players. Brower, much better playoff player than Oshie by far.
Guys, don't
Brodziak
hit me. I gotta set up my shot just right. How dare you play hockey?
Brodziak on the 4th line. He's shown plenty of playoff potential with Minnesota.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
dude, Minnesota.
Yeah.
I try to pay attention to Minnesota sports because I love that. I love it up there. Their fucking team's fucking good too.
Yeah.
That's another team who's really up and coming. Don't slouch on them.
Yeah.
Because we did last year, and look what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
They like for real. Like, just remind yourselves, they're just a little south of Canada. They're not fucking around.
Easily their best trade was getting Dubnyk last year. That saved their season.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember who's Dubnyk.
Goaltender.
Dalton. Okay.
Yeah, that saved their. He's the reason they were in the playoffs last year. Easily, you can argue with me if you want. But I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Well, no, like I said, I try to pay attention, but I'm not lying to you guys. Football will always be my main sport. I do love the St. Louis Blues, though, and you know what else I love? I love the way our city really rallies behind them.
Yeah.
Like no matter how bad the season, I've noticed that with this city, we'll have banners everywhere, and I'm thinking to myself, why couldn't we do that for the Rams? I'm jealous.
So,
but you know it's awesome, Tony.
Yeah.
I want to thank you very much for coming in the studio today.
Want to do Canadian predictions really quick? It'll
Oh
only take
shit!
about
I'm sorry.
4
I forgot.
seconds.
Guys, Canadian predictions with Tony. This is gonna be his new bit. It's fucking rad because he's Canadian. Therefore, hockey is in his blood.
So,
in fact, let me get you a maple syrup and a hockey stick.
Sounds good. I
Also,
need some
Monkey
hockey
hat.
sticks. I'm actually side note.
Oh yeah, I saw.
I'm starting hockey this week once I get my equipment. Doing some practices. Next week I will have a first game, and then we'll go from there. I'll let you guys know how I do.
Upload it to the Facebook page.
I do have a GoPro that I plan on wearing during
You have
some
a
of these
GoPro?
games.
He has a GoPro. This
So.
is happening. He has a GoPro.
You guys will get to see me
Boobs.
playing some hockey, and you'll get to see one of my friends playing goalie every
We
now
should have
and
a
then.
boobs counter for today's episode.
Boobs count is at least at 50. Anyways, Canadian predictions.
Canadian
And
boobs predictions.
we're eventually going to get a sound bit in here, so this empty space might be the sound bit, Adrian, when you're editing. Anyways, so okay, I am strictly only doing the Central League because the Central League is the best division in hockey, so we're just going to stick with that, plus the Blues are in it. So I'm going to start with Chicago. This is from the 9th through the 16th, so until next show. Chicago's playing 3 games. I predict they're going to go 2-1-0 with a loss to the Blues. Colorado has 4 games. They go 2-1-1. They don't play anyone in the Central. Stars go 3 games. They go 1-2-0, which would put the Blues ahead of them finally. They play 1 game against the Central, and that's the Jets. That's their loss. Minnesota plays 3 games. I say they finally go 3-0-0 with wins against Stars and Jets in the Central.
Jets I can see. Minnesota's going to be tough, though.
Yeah. Nashville, 3 games, 2-1-0. I predict that they are going to take a loss to the Jets. I think that's their back-to-back night, so that's why I'm predicting that.
Okay.
Blues play 4 games. I think they're going to go 4-0-0 in this week. They play Jets and Chicago, and they're both Central rivals, and I think we're going to kick their ass.
You think the Blues are going to go 4-0 now?
Yes. The other 2 teams are the Devils,
We should be able to beat the Devils.
I would imagine. And then I can't remember the 4th game. I know the Jets and the Chicago were playing on home
All right,
ice.
guys. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hold Tony to his statement. All right. Next week, we're gonna make sure we're gonna have Tony on, and we're gonna try
Yes.
really hard.
And I will keep track.
And we will keep track of this.
I got the Jets
And
really
then, if he loses, I want someone to put a comment or something to say what Tony has to do. It has to be fairly accurate. Don't say kill yourself or something. That's just fucked up. Maybe we can get Tony to wear whipped cream or something. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
I think it'd be hilarious.
Really quick, and then I got the Jets. They're 1 win against the Stars, and they go 1-3-0, and they have 4 games. So those are my predictions.
You know what? Even though
Make
the
some
Jets
bets.
even though the Jets are having a little tough year, I still wouldn't sleep on them.
I think they're going to start the year off. They'll rally come around the second half.
Okay.
Right now they're in dead last in the Central.
Yeah.
They're 4-4. I think they will start to pick up their pace. That's what they did last year. They started off slow last year and then picked up the pace.
Okay.
So
All
we'll see
right.
what happens.
Well, Tony, I want to thank you very much for having me on the show for Sports Segment Brother. Guys, I want to
Yes.
thank you for tuning in. Also, I really like the idea of us doing this Canadian prediction things. Thank you all for tuning in to 20's Know-It-All. We'll be right back with Matt. And welcome back to 20's Know-It-All, guys. We have Matt back with us. Now, Matt was on last week, and Matt did this countdown. But unfortunately, due to time restraints and Tony, we had to cut his list short. And I felt a little bad about that. But, Matt, real quick, I don't want you to go into description. Name the movies we covered last week, and then start with the rest of them.
Okay. So last week I got through Sicario, Attack the Block, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, and Babadook. So we got through 4.
Yes.
So
we have 6 more.
we got 6 more.
All right, Matt, why don't you go ahead and start with number, 6.
Whatever. This list jumps around. So, because the Babadook was my number 1.
That's
As
right,
I
it
said,
was.
that was my number 1 favorite film of the past few years. But the next one I'm going to go to is a little more light.
Okay.
It's actually American Hustle. Don't know if you saw American
yes,
Hustle.
I did. Yes.
Really great ensemble piece, directed by David O. Russell, starring a wonderful cast that had a lot of A-list stars in there. You had
Jennifer
Christian
Lawrence, Bradley
Bale,
Cooper.
Jennifer Lawrence, Bradley Cooper, Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner,
C.K. Lewis.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
Louis C.K.
Louis C.K. almost had it.
Almost.
And a short cameo by Robert De Niro because David O. Russell has his little group of actors that
He
just
loves to keep working.
he loves, and that's part of what draws me to his style of directing is that he is hearkening back to the golden age of Hollywood where they would have
the same
the
actors. with
same directors would hold on to their actors. They would get good relationships with their actors. They'd reuse them. They'd find great roles. And then you establish that really great director-actor relationship where they trust each other and you can elicit fantastic performances, which has been, no doubt, been shown off tremendously through David O. Russell's work. Especially through finding new starlets like Jennifer Lawrence, who has, besides the role of Katniss Everdeen, he's kind of made her career with
I'd
the
say
films
that.
he's done.
Oh, yeah.
And American Hustle is just a great example of that. It shows exactly what a terrific ensemble of actors can do with a story that may be a little too hectic for most people. I watched American Hustle, and I was just blown away by just the sheer ferocity of the performances and how deep and ingrained those actors got into their characters. So that's why it's on my top 10 list is for the ensemble appeal. It's just fantastic. And you don't see that too much anymore.
I honestly, from that movie, I kind of like the character development of it all. I kind of like the way they slowly revealed all these unique characters. And what's funny is the one thing I love about Christian Bale in that movie, in fact in all of his movies, is he doesn't just mentally get into the role. He physically.
Oh yeah.
I mean, guys, I'll be honest, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but he has gotten physically into so many roles with the movies. There's tons of articles. Just Google it. I'm sure you'll find what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. And for this role, he got fat. He
Well,
put on 50 pounds of fat. Not muscly fat like a soldier. Not saying all soldiers are muscly fat. Just wanted to give an example. He got fat.
Yeah.
And what's funny is you looked at his character and he wasn't playing a disgusting slob. He was actually playing a little bit of a sociopath.
He was a little bit of a sociopath, a little bit of an asshole.
And a little bit of an asshole, and yet also brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking brilliant.
Just everyone in that movie pulled their weight. It's wonderful.
Literally.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful to see a cast of actors who can bounce off each other and improv, because there was a lot of improv in that movie that people don't know about. and just create this world that feels real because the characters feel real. The characters feel authentic in a not so real way. Because they're people you're like, I don't know people like this. Who knows people like this? But they're so tangible that, I don't know, it just...
Especially Lawrence's character.
Especially Lawrence's character. Who doesn't want to jam out? Who doesn't want to jam out to music in their living room, just like swinging their head around and cleaning like in front of their terrified like 5-year-old? I want to do
Drunk
that.
as shit.
I want to do that.
Next movie.
Next movie. Little bit heavier here. I'm going to go with Short Term 12.
Not familiar with
Don't know if... Okay, you're not familiar with it. Phenomenal movie. It stars Brie Larson and John Gallagher Jr.
Brie Larson.
Brie
Why does
Larson.
that name ring a bell?
Brie Larson, she's kind of one of those people who's in everything, but you don't remember her. She was in Trainwreck most recently, playing Amy Schumer's sister. She's guest starred in Community. She's been in films like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World as what was her? Well, who is she? Who is she in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World? Envy. She was not Envy. Was it Envy? I don't remember. Whatever. Whoever she was in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, she was in there. But she is a very phenomenal actress. You can see her most recently in the upcoming indie drama Room, which has been getting fantastic reviews, and many are calling her out for the frontrunner of this year's Oscar bid for Best Actress, which I am fully supportive of, even though Jennifer Lawrence is also coming out in Joy, and I'm like
Joy.
Fully supportive of her as well. So many good actresses nowadays. But Short Term 12 is a phenomenal movie. I'm not going to give away too many spoilers because I want to move along in the list, but very dramatic, very heart-wrenching. It's one of those movies that pulls at your heartstrings, but in such a way that you don't hate it. It's not like a Hallmark movie.
Oh, okay.
It's not like you're going to watch it and be like, ugh, they're really trying to like make me cry in this movie. It's like, everything feels so organic and natural. The performances are all top-notch across the board, especially Brie Larson. And it was just a really well-paced, put-together movie. It was an indie drama that unfortunately didn't get as much. It wasn't broadcasted as much as some other films, so it didn't really get on the radar for like Oscars or anything like that, which I think it should have been. But fantastic movie. Might go home and watch it tonight, but then again, I don't want to bawl my eyes out. Anyway, definitely watch it though. Awesome movie.
Short Term 12.
Short Term 12. Lock it away. It's a good one.
Yeah.
My next movie, and this one might be a bit of, people might go, what? Like, it's Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. Don't know.
The one with Jeremy Renner?
The one with Jeremy Renner and Gemma Arterton. And
all right. Before, I was curious. Now you have my attention.
Right?
Because I felt like I was the only person. I actually enjoyed that movie because it was just...
And Famke Jensen as the Grand High Witch, who is always a treat anytime she's on screen. I love her to death.
She's actually also very funny.
Oh, yeah.
She's fucking hilarious. And no one really recognized her. I was like, that's her!
That's her!
And I almost got excited. I didn't even see that in theater. I saw that. I downloaded it off Amazon. And I went to work one day. That movie's like, what, 3 years old?
Oh, yeah.
I went to work where I used to work. I can't say it because I might get in trouble, but fuck that place. I was like, hey, did you guys see Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter? And they're like, well, look retarded. I'm like,
no,
it's actually really not terrible.
Phenomenal movie.
And Jeremy Renner, you know what's funny is people were kind of giving him crap for that role. He's like, what? They're like, why would you pick such a shitty role? Like the movie was so terrible. And he's like, well, sometimes you have to do with what you think you would like.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that role, and it was fun.
Now the funny thing is, and I love it when I pick movies that this happens to, is that it's now getting such a cult following. Over all of it. Such a strong cult following. Critics are reassessing their reviews. Like, maybe we shouldn't have gone into this movie thinking it was going to be like Titanic or Avatar. Maybe we should have gone into this movie just to enjoy the movie.
Whoa. I never met anyone who thought that movie was going to be like Titanic or Avatar.
Well, just as far as the quality, quality goes.
Okay,
they think they're going into a movie that's going to be like all like, you know, nowadays people are expecting like Inception type twists, and they're expecting like high quality everything.
You know what,
and
I'll be honest with you, quick side note, I did like Inception, but I never want to see a movie that has that many twists again, because that movie almost did a Sixth Sense thing.
Oh, yeah.
Where they have to have that final twist at the end. Because that happened for like 5
Yeah.
years of that fucking movie, and every fucking movie had to have that stupid little twist, and it's like, it doesn't make sense. You just ruined all of these characters, and nope.
Yeah, that's exactly why I love Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter so much. It was pure escapism. There weren't any twists. There was like one small twist.
Well,
The
a small twist is
performances,
one
the
thing.
performances were super tongue in cheek, super slapstick. Loved everything about it, which is why Hansel and Gretel is personally one of my favorites of modern cinema.
Not to critique, I wouldn't say that was one of my favorites, but I definitely fucking enjoyed it, guys. It is nowhere. I agree with Matt. That movie is nowhere. It's not bad at all. The critics just fucking destroyed it.
Mhm.
They burned that alive like a witch at Salem.
Well, as long as the cult following is there, I don't give a crap what critics think because we're gonna get a sequel out of it somehow. I want a Hansel and Gretel
10
Witch
years
Hunter
later,
sequel.
Jimmy Renner's like, I'm back.
I'm back. Which brings me to the next one on my list, which is on my list because I'm like, there's been this huge fad over the last 10 years of superhero movies, and people get so wrapped up in these superhero movies. I'm like, oh God. But I have to say, if I'm going to pick a movie to be on this list that is a superhero movie, I decided to go with X-Men Days of Future Past. And I'll tell you exactly why, which is because if you go and see something like if you see Thor, The Dark World or whatever the sequel was, or if you see the Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield, or if you see any of those, they follow a very strict formula. And it becomes very tedious to sit through movies like that over and over again. I just saw Ant-Man the other day. Good movie. It was well made, but it was so formulaic, guy, they find this guy, given these powers, it's an origin story, he beats the bad guy, gets the girl. That was the formula for that movie. He gets the girl. I was so disappointed when they opened up the door and it's like them kissing. I'm like, ugh, really? Do they have to get together? Is that a necessity? And that is why I picked X-Men Days of Future Past.
Now hold on a minute. Before we continue. With superhero movies, they're based off of they're supposed to be based
off the comic books.
Now, the comic book or origin stories, a lot of them from Marvel came from the same two people, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby.
That's correct.
Now, when it comes to origin stories, they all have that similar thing because that's the idea where the comic book, not necessarily the original comic book, technically came from the 19th century.
Right.
But with the modern era, they always start off with usually a man finding that power, him having a girlfriend or wife or whatever, and then there being a villain. Now that happened originally because they needed to make some money, 2, they needed to appeal to little kids, and 3, this was not ever meant for adults.
Right.
I'd like to say that even though I love comic book movies, guys, comic books, for all intents and purposes, were never meant for people beyond the age of 13.
Until more recently when they realized that their fan base had been changing.
You could argue, you could definitely argue, yes, until about the 1980s.
Right.
Whenever the Punisher War Journals started happening, or whenever the origins of Wolverine started happening. So I do agree with you, that has become very formulaic, but because if you divulge too far away from the source material, you just alienate a lot of people. Now, there have been... Actually, I'm really trying to think of an exception. The only exception I can think of where they kind of went away from the origin, but they still tried to do it a little bit, was honestly the very first X-Men movie.
That is true.
Now, if you guys read the comics of X-Men, that movie did not follow too many original origins. They kind of went with their own shtick, but they made it decent.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry, guys. That's my counter argument to the comic book movie. I do acknowledge that some of the movies are shit.
Yeah. That's my thing is you don't necessarily have to turn every comic book into a movie. Turn the good ones into the movie.
See, you know what's funny? Iron Man was considered always a B-class superhero.
And now look at him.
And now he's
he's
up there with the
number
big
one.
boys.
People like him more than Captain America.
That's just it. Captain America was always in the A ranking because he was the one who fought the Nazis.
Right.
And then they did Iron Man with RDJ, and Robert Downey Jr. and Jeff Bridges were during that first movie, they called that an expensive college film because every day it never went with plans. Things were always happening on the set. It was always a very unique experience. But guys, I'm sorry, Matt has limited time. Matt,
no, you're
please
fine.
continue.
But the reason that I picked X-Men Days of Future Past over any other comic book movie, including Joss Whedon's The First Avengers movie, the reason why I picked it over any of those ones is because X-Men Days of Future Past has never been concerned with the common formula that's been, or at least the X-Men series in general. Because X-Men, as is classic with the comics, has always been an ensemble piece. It's always been not just about one superhero. It's been about...
Oh, see, now you're kind of getting to the Wolverine territory where there are many people who would argue that with you.
I would argue that Wolverine has only been more front and center in the X-Men movies because Hugh Jackman's star power has kind of elevated him to that point where they realize they can bank on him more.
What about the first two, X-Men 1 and 2? He was still very unknown, and he was still kind of the main focal point.
See, I felt like in X2, even though he was more the main focal point, I felt like it was more of a tug of war between him and Jean. Because if you look at that, they start to set up Jean as the Dark Phoenix for the third movie, The Last Stand, which unfortunately
that
wasn't the best movie, which was a shame because X2 set it up so beautifully,
well.
And
with that ending piece,
ending was just gorgeous. And then
spoiler alert.
And then the third one came, and there was so many production troubles. Oops. Bryan Singer had to leave, and unfortunately fell apart, which is why the X-Men movies, especially Days of Future Past, shows me that...
You know what's annoying?
What?
Did you know they only killed off Cyclops so he could go over to Superman Returns?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
He practically went from that set to the next set within the following week to work with Bryan Singer for Superman Returns, which was also another very good
spoiler
movie.
alert, he's back because X-Men Days of Future Past completely
erased
everything.
That means
and started
X-Men
over.
1, 2, 3, Wolverine Origins, and the Wolverine, which honestly, I did not mind the Wolverine, the one where he's in Japan.
Right.
I honestly thought that was like a fun adventure.
I thought that was a great movie.
It didn't follow the Silver Samurai the way I loved growing up, but you know what? The Silver Samurai, that story was so... Honestly, there's nothing wrong with it. I just wish... I still enjoy it though, guys.
But that's basically my big thing with the X-Men movies. I love them. They're great pieces because there's so many moving parts, except for the third one.
And Wolverine Origins was pretty awful.
The cast has always been rock solid. So that's why X-Men Days of Future Past is on my top 10. Second to last movie, Secret of the Kells. Secret of the Kells. It's an animated film. And it has to do with I don't know if you're familiar with the Book of the Kells. It's a really old book. It's Celtic or whatever. It's really cool. Right now the book is being held in the Trinity College library in Dublin, Ireland. Which actually coincidentally is where my brother is going to school. He goes to school in Trinity for music composition.
Hint.
But Secret of the Kells is a fantastic animated feature. One, because the art style is so drastically different from anything we're used to, because it does originate from Eastern animation rather than over here in the States.
When you say Eastern, you mean European or do you mean
European?
Okay.
European. It's such a different animation style. It's very beautiful drawings. Lots of bright greens, but lots of subtle pastels as well. It's very gorgeous.
Okay.
The voice cast, relatively, people here over in the Western Hemisphere aren't going to be very familiar with any of the voice cast because they're all actors who are either Irish or Scottish. But one you might be familiar with is Brendan Gleeson. People may know him from the Harry Potter series. He was Mad-Eye Moody in the Harry Potter series, which is what I'm thinking most audiences are going to know him from. He voices one of the main characters in there. But The Secret of the Kells, it's a very heartwarming story, but it's also very based in real world drama.
Okay.
It's not your typical fairy tale. It doesn't end the way you think it's going to end. It doesn't have a nice Disney ending where everything's peachy keen.
Well, I want my princess, damn it.
No, you want your princess. There's a fairy wolf girl in this.
I don't believe in fairy wolf people, but I don't know.
You'll have to see it. You'll have to see it. But that's why The Secret of the Kells makes my top 10, just because I've always enjoyed seeing different cultures, versions of animation. We're so used to, Pixar, and we're so used to Disney features. Even though I love Pixar, don't get me
I was
wrong.
going to say,
The
let's not knock Pixar.
The Incredible,
except for Cars 1 and 2. Let's
except
not
for Cars
knock
1 and 2, The Incredibles is my personal favorite, but that's just me.
I really like The Incredibles, but I still love Monsters, Inc.
I love Monsters Inc.
'Cause
I
Billy
always
Crystal
cry.
cracks
I
me
always
up.
cry when they leave Boo at the end. I always cry.
Put that thing back in there, or so help me.
I know, but that's why The Secret of the Kells made my list, because I watched it. I'm like, this is gorgeous. The story is so phenomenal, and I think it's a movie that everyone should experience because it is so vastly different from what we're used to.
All right, so what's number one, boss?
Number one is actually, I'm gonna have to pull a psych on that one because I am reserving my number one until the end of the year, because there are movies coming out this year that may very well sway my opinion. Joy being one of the main ones. I'm an obsessed Jennifer Lawrence, David O. Russell freak. So I am looking forward to that movie.
He has
especially
a David O. Russell body pillow.
I am looking forward to Krampus. It was made by the same people who made Trick or Treat. So I am totally looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to Star Wars: The Force Awakens, like many people are.
Now you're talking language.
J.J. Abrams showed that he can successfully reboot a franchise with
now,
Star Trek.
hold on a minute there, Sailor. Hold on a minute. Now, before we start posting our dick flags for JJ, I'd like to remind you guys, as much as I love Mission Impossible 3, to me, it was good, but it was still overrated J.J. Abrams, at least in my book. As much as I love Star Trek 1, the lens flare was driving me nuts.
I loved the lens flare.
I hated it. It's way too much lens flare. Way too much lens flare.
The opening sequence was just gorgeous.
All right. That battle was pretty dope in the beginning.
With the music, with
Kirk's
that nice
dad,
orchestral, and then later you realize, hey, that's Chris Hemsworth. What's he doing there? It's
yes, that was pre-Thor, and nobody knew that.
Nobody knew him, and then you go back and you're like,
but what's
whoa.
funny is number 2 even had more lens flare. And I'll be honest with you, if he puts fucking lens flare in Star Wars,
they're gonna be there. Oh, you know they're gonna be there.
I am really hoping they cut that shit out. It's not necessary. That much lens flare. Nobody needs that. It's like, yeah, I want to see the lightsaber. Oh shit, my eyes. Fuck.
But I know that. I'm pretty sure you're reserving some of. I don't know if you want to save some talk on Star Wars. I don't know what you want to do with that.
Oh, we're doing the Star Wars holiday special.
Okay.
There's so much shit to cover in Star Wars. We could do 8 specials.
So I'll save some of that talk for you guys later. But that is my
boobs.
In the moment. That is my top 10 list with quotation marks because of course I'm leaving out one of the spots for the end of the year.
Fair enough.
But if you want to have me back close to the end of the year, I will give you my number one. Yeah. I'm pulling for you, Joy. I'm really pulling for you.
Yeah. He's got the body pillow.
I do. I have the body pillow. I have 3 body pillows. It's David O. Russell, Jennifer Lawrence, and Amy Schumer.
Damn.
Amy Schumer.
I thought you were going to say Daniel Craig.
No, Amy Schumer.
Daniel Craig's beautiful.
I know he's beautiful.
All right, Matt, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show today. I know we went a little over on time,
okay.
But at least you enjoyed yourself, man.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, I want to thank you all for tuning in 20's Know It All. This was fantastic. I want you to look forward to the big Star Wars holiday special we're going to have. Now, I've talked to Tony, my director, and Adrian, my soundboard guy, now Pete, who will be becoming our new soundboard guy. After that, we are going to be taking a holiday break. We will then start back up again. We believe in the middle of January, so please stay tuned for the following episode. I want to thank you all very much for tuning in. Have a great night.